What was that? What was that? Oh my. Well, let's go for the video, okay? Hey everybody, it's Ingovernable 619 here. In today's video, I'm going to talk. Well, I'm not going to do a review, but it's just talking like my thoughts on the documentary Sting, The Lost Tape. This documentary happens gets recorded in 1995, where Sting was preparing to face Baba. I have his name right here. Sorry, I was saying Big Baba Rogers, known to many as the Big Boss Man. Well, what have we learned in this documentary? 1995, it's an interesting date for Sting because it was not that long since his WCW debut, and it was 6 years before the shutdown of WCW. WCW closed in 2001. In here, as we follow along the preparation for the fight against Baba Rogers, known as Big Boss Man 2, we get to know a little bit, a little bit, because it's not everything recorded, but we get to know how Sting is backstage to other wrestlers, other fans, and even the staff of WCW back then. Yeah, of course, a documentary like this nowadays can be considered a piece of art, because we now also have wrestlers that are no longer alive there, but in a way that they made that. Yeah, I say a lot of that. Oh my god! But the way they made it to be ahead of their time, 20 years, even more, because it's so beautiful made. So, like I told you, this happened 6 years before the end of WCW. In this documentary, we have a Sting, or a Steve Borden, if you want to. That as hope in WCW, he believes in the future of World Championship Wrestling and its superstars, because they had quite a roster back then, like NWO, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, him, Lex Luger. It was quite a stacked roster. And then, if we compare that to other things were in the end of WCW when it was about to close, WCW basically was built around guys like Hogan, Macho Man, and even I was saying the WWE, but no, the NWO. These, all of them were gone. Hulkster went to WWF back then. Same with the NWO. Macho Man, I'm not sure what he did, but he got out of WCW. Sting probably he probably thought to go to WWF back then, but he always did what was best for him, what was best for his legacy. It was never a question of money. And he started to analyze. And guys that got out of WCW back then to WWF, let's say their booking was garbage and they were not treated right. Yes, maybe they were getting more money. They were, but Sting didn't want to compromise his legacy. just because of some dollars. And that's one thing that I admire on him. He always chose his path in wrestling, not because of money, but because of his legacy. That's why he decided to go to TNA, that later in 2002 got created by Jeff Jarrett, Double J Jeff Jarrett. Because, yeah, all legacy, nothing to do with money. Yeah, also in that documentary we can see his relation to Macho Man, other WCW wrestlers, and how Bader felt about Sting. Macho Man and Sting, you can see there that they were really close friends. And they kind of have an history there where Macho Man owed Sting some money, but he would never pay him to, for them to have something to talk. But then it kind of opens up and talks about Sting. If you are a WCW fan, you know that Macho Man and Sting teamed up before. And Macho Man said in that documentary, sometimes when the Stinger, decided to tag him, he wasn't ready, because if he was just feeling like a fan that paid his way to the ring just to see him perform, and if that's not something like to leave you like Sting was like, boom, you had Bader. Bader also in that documentary said that his favorite match, his favorite person that he liked to work the most was Sting. Sting was not also an innovator. He was he was an innovator as a wrestling fan, as a wrestler, with his audience, like everything. He really was important to them. And you can notice one thing also in that documentary. If you follow the Sting career after WCW, in spite of what WWE says, he went to TNA, total non-stop action, yeah. In TNA, he introduced a new version of him, the Joker Sting. Yeah, Stinger are the fans, okay. But this documentary made me realize something. Maybe that Joker version of Stinger was not that recent, at least the idea. Because you can see, after he face paints him, like he face paints himself, you can, I think he says something like, he does like the Stinger Joker face, this doesn't make me feel like a superhero, but it makes me feel like Stinger. Yeah, I can't imitate him, like zero at all. Yeah, and also his match with Baba Rogers, Big Boss Man, you watch, I don't know if it is all of it or just a clip in the end of this documentary, but it's worth to watch, because for the time, like everything in this documentary is ahead of its time. The match starts with the entrances, of course. Sting gets in with a table, Then at first he gets an upper hand on Barbara Ray. Then Barbara Ray uses Sting to upset the fans by mocking his woo, and the fans got really fired up. And in the third part of the match, Big Barbara Ray, he basically turned into a sandwich because Sting literally put a table on the top of him and bam, double stomp. I didn't want to be in the receiving end of that because, oh my god. And yeah, oh, I forgot to talk about his face paint. I also like to know that his face paint, it was always different because he didn't knew what he was doing, literally. Just a brush and he started painting. And yeah, it just went with the flow, and sometimes it looked good, sometimes it didn't. And that's how the way it works. And all of this... and then many years later, it created a GOAT, one of the greatest of all time in wrestling, and without WWE. Woo! So guys, that's it. This is the end of the video. These are my thoughts on the Sting the Lost Tape documentary. What do I have to say? Did I enjoy it? I did, a lot. We learned a lot about Sting, but also WCW. And yeah, that's it. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you thought. And that's it. I am Ingobernables 619 and I will see you in the next video. Bye.